An international alliance of lawmakers is sounding the alarm over a possible conflict in the Taiwan Strait. The Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China, made up of dozens of politicians from all over the world, says more attention needs to be paid to China's aggression towards Taiwan. The group has launched a new project to raise awareness of the issue. It says that any conflict in the Taiwan Strait would have dire consequences for the entire world.
A blockade of the Taiwan Strait could cost the global economy $10 trillion or even more.
And that's more than the economic slowdown caused by the COVID-19.
5 times more than Putin's illegal war in Ukraine.
This is unthinkable. It's something we can't allow.
And it is a very real risk.
More must be done to prevent this.
To find out more about what the Inter-Parliamentary Alliance is calling for, our reporter Rick Glauert spoke to Alliance member and lawmaker for the Netherlands Democrats 66 Party, Jan Peternoot.
So you're part of a new call for more attention to be paid to what is happening in the Taiwan Strait. Could you tell me exactly what is at stake here?
I think what is at stake is a rules-based global order. And that's an order for me as a citizen in a small country. We've seen after the Second World War that small countries can prosper, that they can rely on the fact that there is an order in the world where it's not just big countries bullying smaller countries into submission, but that human rights matter, that sovereignty matters, and that the size of your army does not mean that you can always bully the neighboring countries around you. That rules-based global order would really come to an end if we've seen the Russians invading Ukraine, a sovereign country, and then China invading Taiwan and taking over that country. So if you really value human rights and democracy and a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, then you should take an interest in what's happening in the Taiwan Strait.
Your campaign calls for people to pay more attention to measuring the impact of Chinese aggression towards Taiwan. What should people be looking out for?
What we need to look out for is what is happening in the Taiwan Strait. And at the moment, we see some news reports that Chinese spy balloons fly over Taiwan, that Chinese airplanes, that they cross the middle line between the Chinese mainland and Taiwan. And those are just incidents, of course, but they add up to a pattern in which China is putting ever more pressure on Taiwan, which could, in the end up in a blockade or an invasion. And what we need to do is monitor how the situation develops and make sure that the world pays attention, because it's very important for welfare, prosperity on a global scale that we do deter China from putting any aggressive pressure on Taiwan, invading or blockading the country.
We know that China, the world's second largest economy with a lot of clout, often puts pressure on people to accept its narrative when it comes to Taiwan. As a lawmaker in Europe, how hard is it for you to convince people to care about Taiwan's situation?
I think people are becoming more aware of the fact that China is not just a trade partner, but is also a country that is willing to put pressure on anyone, everywhere, whenever it suits their short-term interests. And I think the lesson that we learned from the Russian invasion in Ukraine is that you need to give a dictatorship a very good reason not to act aggressively. This is something where Europe, but also the United States, have failed. If we would have put a very clear sanctions package on the table, if we would have given Russia a very good reason not to attack Ukraine, then we might have prevented the total war that's currently going on. And this is a lesson, I think, that we need to apply to the situation in the Taiwan Strait and to China's pressure on Taiwan.